King household. It's been a nice time here. Real nice time. So the title for today is Nowhere to Go, Nothing to Do, and I'm in no hurry. And the first time I heard that statement, I was in a sangha, and in the mindfulness world or the meditation world, a community that practices together is called a sangha. And the idea implicit to the sangha is that it's a group of people sharing in the practice in order to understand more about themselves. And so the ideas implicit to nowhere to go, nothing to do, and in no hurry is just such an interesting thing in comparison to my own life, in comparison to the way I understand the world, and of course in comparison to conflict, right? So the idea is that you get to these conflicts to get to this better place, or you do this thing to get to this better place, or you do this thing to get to this that gets you to that, and then you get to this, these concepts of like, a dream house or a dream life or a dream job or a dream car. And it all centers around this basic idea that there is this optimal place that can be gotten to. And I guess implicit to that idea is the notion that that place is stable, so that once you're there, you stay there. And obviously, if you just kind of reason that idea out, it's ludicrous. It's absolutely ludicrous to kind of believe that there's this place on Earth, right, as you're alive, that everything stops and everything's perfect. So the idea of nowhere to go, nothing to do, and in no hurry just really was counter to that. And so as I interacted with that notion, and I started to apply it to my life, it showed up in different ways as valuable. So for example, maybe there's some aspect of our life that my wife and I have a conflict over. She perceives this, I perceive that, and there needs to be a resolution. Well, in that conflict, right, so maybe there's different viewpoints, different ways of viewing the situation, whatever. In that conflict, if there was no need to get to a resolution in any particular time, or no need to fix it right away, or an awareness that once the conflict is fixed, there's just going to be another kind of thing that will show up at some point as well. So why not just nip the whole idea in the bud that there's any kind of place to get to? And in the context of conflict, that means that if there is a disruption, or if there is a back and forth that's not ideal or perfect, imagining that conflict without any kind of particular need for resolution at any particular time offers a lot of space, right? There's just a lot of space that takes away some of the edge, and I mean, if you thought about it, if you thought about the conflicts that you've had, or the arguments that you've been in, or the grudges you've kept, and if you took away the need for speed, if you took away the need for getting somewhere, if you took away those things and ultimately just interacted with it in the present moment, what would that afford you? And for me, what this, and I also look at this in the context of business, right? There are these aspects to business, or conflict, or business capture, all these kinds of things that are built around these goals that have to be met, these timetables that have to be realized, and the whole system is run off of this need for speed and this need for, ultimately domination, right? You dominate the time frame, you dominate the adversary, you dominate the outcome, and ideally you get to this place where you have supreme power, some notion like that. And I've lived the experience that flips that on its head. It's not about getting somewhere. It's not about doing it this fast. It's not about coming to this resolution or getting to this place. It has far more to do with the process by which you do those things. And if during the process you perceive a limitless amount of time and a limitless amount of space and nowhere to get to, what kind of value does that bring to the moment? And for me, the kind of value that it brings to the moment is just a limitless set of options. And an absence of pressure. Now, I know you could say, well, you've got to feed your family and all that other kind of stuff. And I understand that. But at the same time, there's this notion implicit to the statement that you got to do this or you got to do that. That there's this place that you've got to get to. And again, that notion that there's this place that's got to get to is fundamentally flawed, because the more you participate with this imaginary notion of got to get to or has to be, the more you fixate on the value of reality outside yourself, or validation outside yourself, or happiness outside yourself. It becomes more of it kind of feels like a giveaway, right? You're giving away a sense of, you're giving away your authority over the matter. And so, to finish up and get into the training, I'm not saying that there aren't things that need to be accomplished and things that need to be established, and that there aren't places to get to, right? Like, so you go after buying a house, you purchase the house and you've got the house, right? I'm not saying that that's not true. What I am saying is that how you interact with the process of that is very significant. And the last analogy is in the context of a fight or an argument. If the notion is defeating the enemy as quick as possible and getting to this place where the threat is neutralized, there's less of a chance or less options for how that situation could go. Because if it has to get to a particular resolution that you're kind of perceiving beforehand, the chances of any other potential resolution that could also be there disappear. And so there's an element of arrogance to it. There's an element of hubris to it. And I think we see that a lot. And I think that's an issue that, in the intellectual mind, you can argue against and say, well, you got to do this, you got to do that. But that's still an imagination. And what mindfulness really works at is the present moment. And the present moment is infinite. There's nothing inside the present moment that is, nailed down to this or nailed down to that. It's your participation with it that matters. And if you're going to participate with something that is infinite, with some finite, needs that have to be a certain way, then you're pigeonholing yourself. And so that's the point, right? It's not that these things, it's not that your imagination of goals or steps or whatever aren't real. It's just that if you hold on to them as, kind of the exclusive arbiters of value and progress, then the act of doing it will become very limited, because you'll be kind of goal-oriented towards what you perceive the thing needs to be. And oftentimes, people will be so goal-oriented around something that they'll be stuck on it, and there'll be adverse aspects to it. There will be parts of it that are just not sustainable, and that they fall apart, and you won't even notice it because you're so fixated on the way things have to be. So, just want to put that out there, and now let's actually practice, right? So what we're doing when we're practicing is we're practicing the present moment. We're practicing interacting with the present moment. So how do you do that? Well, the first way to do that is to get aware that where you are is the present moment. So that's first bell. Second bell is interacting with your moment kind of interactors, right? Your moment interactors are your senses and your body. Your body is always engaged in the moment. And then how your body engages with the moment is bell 3, which is the interaction with your breath, and how the soul, how you, the best version of yourself, the infinite version of yourself, interacts with the moment, or even kind of moves into the moment as your best self. That's bell 4, right? So this is how you do it, right? You do it by identifying, including, interacting, and then engaging with your best self. So that's the protocol, and that's what we practice every morning. So what cues you to comfort, what gets you good to go, so that you're like, all right, I can sit here for a little bit, set that up, and here comes first bell. Let's just close your eyes today. What shows up first? Maybe it's location based, you know, what's the first senses that you notice real close to you? What do you notice far away? What senses can you use to notice things that are further away from you? You've got sense of sound. What senses can you use to study what's real close to you, maybe even touching your skin? So you got sense of touch, sense of smell, sense of taste. And just for fun, you know, just like think about a sixth sense, right? Just a general, I don't know. I mean, open your mind to what that would mean for you to have like another kind of way to just notice the moment with your senses. Maybe the cumulative expression of all your senses as a whole. What would that look like? What would that feel? Where would you notice that? And if you opened that sense, maybe your sixth sense, what would that look like for you? It's just be curious. I mean, if you don't know, you don't have anything in mind, you know, maybe you just kind of, I don't know. But just be curious. And again, it's the moving of attention, you know, the placement of attention that you're practicing. It's not so much what shows up as you place your attention as it is the movement of your attention with your own, under your own volition. You're choosing to move it around. That's the key. Okay, let's go to second bell here. Now in second bell, let's go through the body. So first you're going to your ground. So that's whatever's beneath you. And you can use your imagination here. Like I'm, you know, sitting in this family cabin, so I'm, you know, grounded and, you know, literally what my ancestors created. And, you know, as I think about my ground, I think about the wood, I think about the cinder blocks beneath me, I think about, you know, the dirt, the land, the family. I mean, there's lots of ways to imagine the ground as more than just kind of like the solid surface beneath you. There's a little bit of play there. Okay, and then you go up to the pelvis. And here again, you know, you're just interacting with the region what feels good, what doesn't. If it feels good to shift, do so. Again, you're just kind of opening the space for interaction, and there's no hurry. The value is in the moment, not in what comes after the moment. Now, I say that we get to the best version of ourselves by going to the moment, but the best version of ourselves is right now. There's just different forms of it, and the different forms have different capabilities. And it's not that they're better, it's just that they have different capabilities. And so right now, as you're moving up to your core, noticing your heart space, the focus is on just the practice of putting your attention where you want it to go, seeing what shows up. And again, no hurry. You're not going to get anywhere. This is where you're going to get this deeper dive into the present moment, this greater understanding of what this means for you, how it works for you. I'm going to move up to the heart space and move shoulder blades around a little bit. And just, if you feel anything that's a little bit maybe painful, like I got a little bit of pain right here in my shoulder, if I move my left shoulder blade a little bit, it's okay. Again, in the context of nowhere to go, nothing to do, in no hurry, it's okay that it's there. It doesn't become a big story. How did it get there? How do I fix it? Da, da, da. Just there. Move up to the head space. Now you establish this relaxed and alert posture, feeling your whole spine. Then we'll move on to third bell. In third bell, the focus is on breathing. So it's the same tool, present moment awareness, applied to a different aspect of your aliveness, so the breathing practice. And so you've moved your attention from your senses to the alignment of your body, now down to your breathing. What has changed is not the attention. What has changed is where you have put your attention. So if your attention has no need for speed or a goal or an outcome, then that's the thing that I'm talking about. It's not the breath. It's not the body. It's not the senses. It's the attention that has no need, no hurry, no place to get to, not what you are attending to. So as you put your attention without any expectation or need or outcome on your breathing, what do you notice as a baseline? Now what do you notice as a max inhale? Now let's just sit with nowhere to go, nothing to do, and just sit for 3 minutes. Now you'll see for 3 minutes, you'll see inside of that 3 minutes the thing that is in a hurry, the thing that has something to do, that has stuff to get to and get done. You'll see that show up and pull you away. Or pull yourself back into the present moment by focusing on the present moment experience of breathing. So your mind will wander, you say with your attention, nope, put your attention back on the breathing. Your mind will wander, put it back on the breathing. And you just do that for 3 minutes. And so each bell creates a shift in where the attention is placed. And so your attention, right? Your attention has nowhere to go. Your attention has nothing to do. Your attention is in no hurry. But the things that you put your attention on have different expressions. So it's the attention that is infinite, that is limitless, that has no start, no end, no beginning. But it's what you put your attention on that shifts, that changes. And so when you put your attention on something like love, or when you put your attention on something like compassion, what you're doing is you're combining this kind of infinite ability with kind of human powerful things. And so your attention fuels these things, not because your attention needs it. Your attention doesn't need this kind of stuff, but your attention fuels this kind of stuff. So when you put your attention on gratitude, the body responds. When you put your attention on compassion, the body and people around you respond. And so what you're doing is you're recognizing, as you're practicing, you're recognizing your attention is a powerful force, not what you put it on. And so by putting your attention on needing to have something done at this particular pace, or needing to have this happen or that happen, you're giving the power to what you're putting your attention on, as opposed to the attention itself. So anyway, I hope I've made that a little bit more clear. It's a tricky thing, because you think, well, I need to do X, Y, and Z, and you're like, well, that's a kind of a structured way of thinking about things that doesn't really address the realities of the situation, the realities of the situation of what I've been describing. So it's a tricky thing, and it's kind of counterculture. So I'm encouraging you to see things differently, and I'm encouraging you to look past your identity. So it's not an easy thing, but there's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do, and I'm not in any hurry. So with that, we'll call it a day. It's great to see everyone who participated. You don't look 63. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all tomorrow.